I want to talk about something that's dangerous. If you don't know about this, it's going to affect you in negative ways with consequences that are hard to comprehend until after they happen to you. And I'm talking about the disease, the plague. You see it out here. Millions of people here in Hollywood, around the world, are infected with it. It's narcissistic entitlement. You know, I see it a lot. People commenting on my YouTube. People going, "Hey Tai, how come everything you do isn't free?" And I want to look at them and be like, what have you ever given me, man? Why do I owe you something? I'm giving you YouTube videos for free. Why isn't that enough? Why does everything I do have to be free? I don't like that. I don't like that world. I don't even consider it fair. You know, when people go to a restaurant, I'm assuming you're this way. When I go to a restaurant, I don't go, "Hey, this is a great sandwich. Can I have it for free?" Right? It would make no sense. You'd be laughed out of the building. But people, when it comes to knowledge and education, and some of it's good. I love the fact that YouTube has democratized education and information. I love that the internet's done that. But if you're not careful, it's taken our brain a little bit too far. And the punishment for narcissistic entitlement is everything you don't want. It's the opposite of health, wealth, love, and happiness, the 4 pillars of the good life that I talk about it. So I was talking to Dr. David Buss, by the way. There's good science on this. He told me he's one of the top evolutionary psychologists in the world, wrote the textbooks used at Ivy League schools, and he said, "Tai, one of the things that you have to avoid in life is people who have narcissistic entitlement." Right? Those are the people that think just because they are who they are, living the life that they're living, that they're automatically should be entitled to have something. Look, I know that the U.S. Constitution and the U.S. kind of ethos is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like, this is what you're owed. And that's great, but just remember, that's man-made, right? And man-made things can be taken away from you. Think bigger, think biologically, think physics, think nature. You know what's owed to you and I? Zero, zip. What was owed to Neanderthals? Nothing. They're extinct. What was owed to dinosaurs? Nothing. Now you might say, well, we're humans. We're entitled to more. Well, that's the beginning of the wrong way of thinking right there. Humans aren't entitled to anything more than anybody else. In a world of 100 billion galaxies, that's approximately how many galaxies are guessed or estimated to be in this universe. There's 100 billion. Our galaxy isn't even a speck, and you and I are certainly not a speck. The beauty of this new way of thinking is it will eradicate the disease that keeps you from being happy. The second you think that you're owed something, everything's traumatic. It's like, oh my gosh, my upbringing wasn't great. My education wasn't great. My job sucks. Oh man, somebody owes me something better. No, that's a great way to be traumatized. The second you cure yourself from this disease and you go, well, I hate my job. I hate being broke. I didn't really have the best family. Didn't really get dealt the best cards from birth. But you go, you know what? That's how it's supposed to be. I'm not entitled to anything. The second you take that approach, number one, you'll be happier, because most of our unhappiness comes from the unexpected. If you know, that you're going to hurt yourself if you jump off a cliff, right? The knowledge leads to the avoidance of the problem. The second you think you're going to jump off a cliff, but gravity somehow doesn't exist and you're entitled to just float down to the bottom with no pain, that's when you'll accidentally fall off that cliff. And that's what happens in the world. People go, Tai, I hate my job, as if they're entitled automatically to a good job. No, you go out and earn it. Like my favorite saying you've heard me say before, Charlie Munger, to get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. The world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a whole bunch of undeserving people. The solution is a switch in mentality. Secondly, it's the adoption of what I just said, Charlie Munger's billionaire mindset. To get the job that you want, you're not entitled to it, but if you earn it, the good thing is the world is more fair than we think. We live in a world where the media sells ratings by finding the most extreme forms of injustice and putting them in front of our face as if that's the normative pattern. That's not the norm. The norm is that smarter people who have invested in themselves, I'm not just talking about how they were born, people who are more educated, meaning they sat down when everybody else was partying and they read a book, they end up making more money. What's wrong with that? What kind of world do you want to live in? You want to live in the world where your doctor is the dumb kid in class or the smart kid in class? And I'm not talking about just book smart, because the world doesn't always just reward book smart people. The world rewards savvy people who understand how the big picture works as well as the details. But again, you wouldn't want a world where the people who didn't deserve it were in charge. The world we live in is a lot better than we think. It's just all these naysayers, all the conspiracy theorists, all the people talking about, I posted something about capitalism. Oh, capitalism is the root of all evil. Capitalism's the root of all evil? Now, I don't think capitalism is perfect, but you think it's the root of evil based on what science? Point to me a country that you would rather live in that doesn't have some capitalistic principles. Obviously, some capitalistic principles, you got to keep them in check, but it works pretty well. I just saw that movie Child 44 with Tom Hardy about communist Russia. Would you have wanted to live in Russia in the 1950s? I doubt it, my friend. It was a horrible place to live. So the political system that you probably live in, unless you live in about 3 or 4 main countries that, well, not just 3 or 4 countries. There's a few places in the world left. 10-20% of the world that has horrible rule of law. But most of you watching this, you're living in a pretty good political place. What do you think you're owed? Utopia? You think you're owed by who? That's my question. Who owes it to you? I don't owe it to you. Like I said, people go, well, hey, Tai, you charge for the 67 steps. You charge for different programs. Why don't you make your conference free? Because I don't want to. And why should I have to? What have you ever done for me? Now, I don't mean that to be rude and come off as an ass, but that's kind of what I think. If you want something from me, what's wrong with paying for it? Just like I would return the same favor to you. If you offer me something that helps my life, why can't I pay you for it? That's not capitalism, that's justice. That's, a magnanimous approach to life, being above the petty nitpicking things. So, kind of my main point here, and this is just me ranting on things that are in my mind based on interactions I get I get a lot of people, every day writing me, and hopefully it adds some value to you, to your life. Remember that. Nothing's owed. Nothing's owed. If you're unhealthy, if you're born with a disease, if you get cancer, if you get in a car accident, if you have a job that you didn't, that you hate, if you have family that's driving you crazy, if you were cheated on by a husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, the best starting place is to rid yourself of the disease of narcissistic entitlement that says, oh, I'm the center of the world and the world owes me a lot, so how in the world could this be happening to me? Well, it's not that way. The way the world is you just go, well, this sucks, but I'm one speck in 100 billion galaxies. Let me go out, roll up my sleeves, through hard work, through doubling down and investing in my own brain, let me fix the situation through creativity, through, tenacity, all those old school fundamentals in life. And from there, the good news is a lot of those things will start going away. Poverty, that's how poverty goes away. That's how being broke goes away. That's how lack of physical health goes away. Once you realize your body's degrading day by day, from the day you're born basically until the day you die, you'll go, oh, I'm not owed physical health. I better get there and stop eating that and start running this and lifting this. I better hit the gym. It's a better way to approach life. And even if it isn't a better way, fortunately or unfortunately, it's the only true way What else? What is inaccurate about the general gist of what I said? I didn't perfectly give the oratory delivery because I'm just sitting out here on the penthouse balcony this is unrehearsed. So excuse any grammatical errors. But the gist of this is what the smartest people throughout history have all been saying. I don't care if you're religious or not religious. I don't care if you're atheistic, if you're an Epicurean, if you're a Stoic, if you're a nihilist. This is the hard, cold facts about life. I don't owe you anything, and you don't owe me anything. And what the best thing in terms of socially that you can come to, the best agreement, is allies. You and I can be allies. And allies reciprocate. I give you value, you give me value. Your friend, you give him value or her value, and she gives you value back. And when you create those reciprocal agreements, then you form what scientists call coalitions. Some people call them families. Some people call them best friends. I call them allies. I like that word. Because not all family is an ally, and not all friends prove to be allies in the end. You want people on your side, but they don't owe you anything. You earn the quality of relationship when it comes to a friend, just like in business. So, root it out. Root out the narcissistic entitlement. Anyway, talk to you soon.